Hello and welcome to SatTV Week, the news programme for the international satellite industry. This week, Helen talks to Martin Coleman, Executive Director of the Satellite Interference Reduction Group. James Shortland reports on Iridium Next, and Tricia Jones has the launch news. But first, here's Carrie Ann with the news headlines.
DigitalGlobe has partnered with Extreme Ice Survey to combine on-the-ground photography with satellite imagery to monitor the state of the world's glaciers. EIS uses an innovative photographic approach to illustrate the evidence of climate change over time, providing scientists with vital insight on glacial retreat. It has installed more than 30 time-lapse cameras to record glacier change every half hour of daylight year-round in Alaska, Greenland, Nepal, Iceland and the Rocky Mountains. EIS founder James Balog, a renowned environmental photographer, earth scientist and adventurer, said the satellite imagery is helping to further his organisation's work. Comtech EF Data Corporation has enhanced its engineering management team with the appointment of John Baddick to Vice President VSAT System Engineering. This newly created position will address the strategic area of the company. Baddick will direct the technical efforts including hardware design, software development and product engineering for the advanced VSAT solutions. Prior to joining Comtech EF Data, Baddick was with Intelsat for 7 years in senior program management roles.
Carrie Ann will be back later with more news. Recently, the Satellite Users Interference Reduction Group, the world's leading organisation working to reduce satellite frequency interference, adopted a new name and made key changes to its management structure. This week, Helen Jameson spoke to Martin Coleman, the group's Executive Director, and started by asking him about the organisation's new name and strategy.
It used to be the Satellite Users Interference Reduction Group, but after much debate and change this year in 2011, we took the user part out because we're quite broad when it comes to that. But really what that group's about, and has been right from the beginning, is dealing with the rather tricky and probably boring subject of interference in general, and obviously mainly with satellite transmissions. And the group has been mainly focused on technology and the reasons and trying to sort of characterise the types of interference we get, and in the end helping satellite operators try to get a feel of the problem. So the whole group's, that's what its broad aim has been since its inception in, I think it was 2001 when it first started.
And what kind of problems does signal interference cause to the satellite industry?
Mainly, 80% of it is day-to-day problems. Cross-polarisation, unauthorised carrier are the two big ones. They are 80%. And most of it comes from basically either bad installations, people just not following the rules, not understanding the equipment they're running, not pressing the buttons in the right order, and simply putting signals where just signals shouldn't be put. So you've got this day-to-day build, and as we get bigger and broader and bigger or larger quantity of services and types of services, of course, what's happening and what's happened is this has got to a point where the industry now has to deal with it. Again, that's what the Interference Reduction Group was supposed to be trying to do some years ago. But now we have operators, and the industry recognises the whole problem as a serious problem. After all, at the end of the day, there's operators out there with transponders. They cannot sell the space because they've got interference in them. So there's money at stake, the sheer weight of time just for an operator to deal with the day-to-days, let alone all the serious things you hear about in the press of, the actual piracy and deliberate jamming. Although that's a small percentage, they're the difficult ones to trace. But if your whole life is hinged around dealing with interference, it doesn't leave the industry much time to deal with reality and the art of making money.
And what are your main aims as Executive Director of the group?
Well, initially, and obviously, continuing the fight to reduce or mitigate interference. It'd be nice to think we could eradicate it, but I think what we've got to do is be a little bit more practical. But as people may well know, I personally have taken this to heart, and also being a practical guy, want to bring that practical level to this. So we've not changed the direction of the group at all. What we have done is put it in a place, put it in a spot where it, if you like, is the glue, the support for people like GVF, WDU and other important groups worldwide that have the front seat and can help do something about educating the industry in how to figure this out and how to deal with it. We glue, of course, and of course the most important membership to our group is the satellite operator, who sit in that rather tricky position of being on top of the industry, at the top with the satellite and the capacity, and of course have to be underneath trying to deal with the day-to-day problems. So my aim is to keep that role that we push out, we educate, we help, support, and we keep on the road so that we can keep that message going. And as you well know, we are starting to have a real effect just on carrier ID, type approvals and training and certification. So that's my aim. Well, probably several aims in that one, but that's what I'm trying to do anyway for the group's sake.
Martin, thank you very much indeed.
The US Congress has passed the 2011 spending bill, and NASA Administrator Charles Bolden has said that NASA now has the appropriate funds to implement the 2010 Authorization Act, which gives the agency a clear path to continue America's leadership in human spaceflight, exploration and scientific discovery. He added that with the funding, the development of a new heavy-lift rocket, multi-purpose crew vehicle and the commercial capability to transport astronauts and their supplies on American-made and launched spacecraft will be aggressively pursued. Here's Tricia with more launch news.
According to press reports, an Indian cosmonaut will fly a space mission on board a Russian spacecraft. India and Russia signed a memorandum of understanding on joint activities in the field of human spaceflight during the recent visit of Russian President Dmitry Medvedev. This mission, tentatively scheduled for 2013, will precede a planned Indian manned spaceflight in 2015. Under the MOU, ISRO and the Russian space agency Roscosmos will jointly build the spacecraft for the Indian manned mission using a redesigned Soyuz space capsule. NASA has awarded contracts worth $270 million in the second round of the agency's commercial crew development effort. Each company will receive between $22 and $92.3 million to advance commercial crew space transportation system concepts and mature the design and development. The four companies are Boeing, SpaceX, Blue Origin and Sierra Nevada Corporation. NASA Administrator Charles Bolden said the agency was committed to safely transporting US astronauts on American-made spacecraft and ending the outsourcing of this work to foreign governments. According to Ed Mango, NASA's Commercial Crew Program Manager, the next American-flagged vehicle to carry US astronauts into space is going to be a US commercial provider. Communic Asia 2011. Asia's largest knowledge-based ICT platform is the most recognised one-stop knowledge platform for digital, multimedia and entertainment technology.
Thales Alenia Space has awarded a contract to Lockheed Martin to develop, test and support integration of payload application software for the Iridium Next satellites. James has the story.
Thales Alenia Space is the prime contractor for Iridium Next, the next generation satellite constellation being designed, built and launched for Iridium Communications. The satellites are expected to begin launching in 2015 and will replace the company's current constellation. Iridium operates the world's farthest reaching communications network and largest commercial satellite constellation, providing a global voice and data satellite communication service through a constellation of 66 low Earth orbiting satellites. Iridium Next will significantly enhance the capacity and services of the network. Robert Kramer of Lockheed Martin Information Systems and Global Solutions said the company brings extensive full life cycle experience in spacecraft, ground systems and software developments to the project, and that his team has a thorough understanding of the Iridium Next system and the payload application software that will provide the important foundation for both backward compatible legacy services as well as promising new services in the near term and over the life of the new constellation. Matt Desch, CEO Iridium, said that he was confident that Lockheed Martin's payload application software will be a key enabler as the company extends its unique connectivity applications, services and devices to a broader user base on Earth and in space.
Arianespace is on track for the rescheduled April 22 liftoff of its Ariane 5 mission with the RSat-1A and Intelsat New Dawn satellite payloads after replacement of actuators on the heavy lift launcher's Vulcan 2 cryogenic main engine. The replacement was made following an interruption of the original final countdown on March 30, when an incorrect displacement of one of the Vulcan 2 engine actuators was detected. And now here's Carrie-Anne with more news.
Gilat has been selected by Telecom Namibia to provide a SkyEdge 2 broadband satellite network to serve hundreds of locations throughout the country. The new IP-orientated and higher capacity network will replace legacy equipment and enable the connection of new sites to broadband services. Satellite-based connectivity is fundamental for communications in Namibia, which has one of the lowest population densities in the world, with approximately 2 million people spread over more than 800,000 square kilometres. Telecom Namibia is a leading supplier of voice, text, data and video solutions and operates the largest digital telecommunication network in the country. The company will use the SkyEdge 2 network to deliver internet and VoIP services to residential and enterprise customers. Additionally, the new network will be used to deliver the company's Y-Space Wi-Fi hotspot service in hotels and other tourist destinations throughout the country.
And finally, Kazakhstan is ready to consider Russia's proposal to convert the Baikonur Space Center into a joint stock company with Russia as a major shareholder. Russia currently uses the Cosmodrome for many of its space launches and currently has a lease which lasts until 2050 at a cost of $115 million a year. Roscosmos plans to move 45% of Russia's space launches to Vostochny by 2020, with Plesetsk accounting for 44% and Baikonur's share dropping to 11%. That's all for this week. Thank you for watching.